Hey, hey, welcome, welcome. What is up? What is happening? Hey, welcome, welcome. Righty. So, the thing about depression, right? Let me invite you first to breathe with me. In the nose, out the mouth. First of all, just connect with your breath, right? Just connecting with your breath, however you're breathing, becoming aware of your breathing. Because, we can breathe automatically and we can breathe with awareness. So let's connect with that breath for a moment. Would you like some sage? Let's have some sage here as we connect with our breath. And if you want to join me for these and get your own sage, you can actually get the smell. I have an abalone shell here. Maybe I should sell these. But I don't have them for sale. You can just get them at like your health food store. So that's quite pleasant. The little things in life, right? I don't smoke, by the way, so I do enjoy the burning of sage, and it's quite cleansing. It's a thing. So the thing about depression is it's like a stuckness, right? It can feel like a stuckness. And if you have been through it, I don't have to describe it for you. And of course, we mean different things when we say depression. There are ways to get out of depression. There are ways to alleviate depression. And a lot of times I think, we think it's just mental. By the way, keep returning to that breath anytime that you feel throughout this. See if you can keep being mindful of your breath as you listen. Try exhaling fully out the mouth, inhaling through the nose, and whatever comes up for you. Just come back to that. And we'll do some more of that later if you want to stay with me. And after we talk about depression, then we'll do some meditation, and breath work. Meditation and breath work really helped save me from depression. And breath work meaning deep, fast breathing with evocative music and with body work in a facilitated environment. And then also breath work like meditation, like where you sit and be aware of your breathing to bring it all together. But so there are ways to get out of depression, and there are ways to support you through depression. And sometimes antidepressants work for some people. By the way, they just came out with a study. It was a meta study, which basically it was a summary of a lot of studies that have already been done. But it's getting a lot of public attention that the chemical imbalance theory of depression has never been proven. Actually, the difference between what scientists know, what doctors know, and what the public knows about that has been a wide gap for a long time, because although it's advertised as depression is a chemical imbalance, we don't really know that. We know that some antidepressants and some supplements boost certain neurotransmitters, and that helps some people with depression. But we don't know that that's because of a specific imbalance. It's like, what's a good metaphor? Like, if you press the gas on your car, it makes your car go faster, but your car wasn't going slow before because it had an imbalance of gas. I don't know. So I'll try to think of a better metaphor for that. But this is the thing that I've been wanting to talk about with depression. And it may seem obvious, but it's important. So with depression, as with maybe some other, let's say, illnesses or senses of dis-ease, the state of the depression pre- prevents you from doing the things that would make the depression better. Right. So there are some examples. There are some case studies. There are people who have alleviated their depression by doing a bunch of stuff, exercising every day, running every day, walking every day. And I'm not talking about just that. Like, I really mean they did all the things. Like, they exercised every day. They got a therapist. They got a Pilates instructor. They got a yoga instructor. Right. They did all these different things. They did, and I think, and then don't stop. Right. You don't stop when you're depressed, because it's like a cycle. And I can just hear someone out there saying that I've tried all those things and it didn't work. And I get it. It's like, when you've tried everything, what do you do? And I mean, I think one thing is, you've got to move your body, whether you think it's working or not. So it's like, you got to do these things. You got to move your body. And let's back up, though. That may seem impossible. Sometimes the depression just tells you it's impossible. You just can't do it. You can't, and so it's a combination of things. And maybe sometimes you just cycle back into it's not working, depending on where you're at with it. So let's breathe again. Let's breathe together. Exhaling fully out the mouth and inhaling in the nose if your nose is clear enough to inhale through it. So if you're able to do the things, you got to keep doing the things, even when you don't feel like it. And that's a big myth, and that a lot of us have. But we got to wait till we feel like it to do the things. That's not going to work. You got to do the things when you don't feel like it. You got to do the things when you feel like it's not working. And the other thing is that you've got to figure out what the confusion is. What's the thing in your unconscious that's telling you that you can't do it? Right? Because depression is physiological and mental, and maybe spiritual too. And that's one way that the breath work might help a lot. The deep breath work that's facilitated by someone like me, like transpersonal breath work, holotropic breath work, these type of things, where there's deep, fast breathing, there's emotional release work, there's body work, there's evocative music, there's mandala drawing, there's meditation, all those things, and like therapy, counseling along with it. But I mean, if you're able to do the things and you're depressed, do them. And I know there's a lot of elements involved, like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, this and that. And then it can be challenging. So you need a routine, you need discipline, and you need support. And it just seems so impossible sometimes. But I can tell you that over time, I got out of depression. It's just like one day I looked back and I was like, I'm not in depression anymore. It wasn't overnight, because depression oftentimes is like an awareness that's pressed down, right? There's something in your unconscious that is wanting to get your attention, or that you're not wanting to pay attention to, or that you have been told that you're not allowed to experience. So there's the inner work, but and sometimes antidepressants might help for a while. But the idea really with that, for me, should be that they might help you for a while to get a little bit of an edge over that stuck place, so that you can start doing some of those other things. You can start doing the exercise. You can start doing the inner work. So it's like you got to do all of it together, and you got to keep doing it even when you feel it's not working. And I mean, then, you can have permission to listen to yourself. I mean, if you just don't believe it's not working, then try something different. But I'm certain that if you're feeling stuck in depression, there's going to be times where you're on a path to doing something that could work, but you're going to feel like it's not working. You're going to believe that it's not working. So is it like, don't just do something, sit there, or don't just sit there, do something? You recognize your choice in these things. And maybe you might discover that there's something that you need to grieve that you haven't grieved. Or maybe you might discover that you're believing a thought that's not true. And you've believed your thoughts to such an extent that it's unconscious. There's a confusion, right? You've believed that this is supposed to be the same of this, but this is missing this. I know it's very vague, but you've believed a set of thoughts that aren't true, and you've forgotten that you believe those things, and so that then you added all those things up to a truth that you just operate on. And so, as cliche as it might sound, it's like unconscious, subconscious belief systems, and it's a two-way street. Like your habits tell your unconscious how things are going to be, your subconscious, as we talked about before, but it's a two-way street. And so many people talk about that. But what they don't talk about is the part where your unconscious wants to tell you things too. And it will trigger you. It will help you to foster and facilitate situations in your life that make you face that thing that it is wanting you to face that you're not facing. It will give you dreams, nightmares, project things onto the person you're in a relationship with. And so until we go through that process of bringing the thoughts that are in our unconscious into consciousness, which is an ongoing process. I mean, you're probably never going to get to the thought that makes your heart beat, to where you have control over your heart beating. Right? There's things in us that are unconscious that are just unconscious. But I'm talking about unconscious thought processes, unconscious belief systems and structures, unconscious archetypes, things that want to emerge in you, the natural processes of your psyche. See, those things are so, what's the word? Blunted in some ways in our society, in our westernized, industrialized society. The emergence, the natural processes of our psyche. Because, I mean, if they're not profitable, right? If they're not part of what gets you to survive on the day-to-day. And then there's a whole other side of it, which is money, which people, I'll do a whole other video about that. But it's important. Let's talk about it now too. Because I think so often some of you say that you don't have the money to do what you'd like to do for your self-care. And you're just you're like resigned to that. Like, I don't have the money and I'll never have the money. And oftentimes we just dismiss that. We're resigned to it. We dismiss it as a factor that we should look at or examine or change. And we're resigned to the belief we can't change it. And maybe it doesn't seem to fit in with our value system to change it anyway. And I think that's a problem, especially if you want to feel well, if you have the desire to feel well, and that's one of the things stopping you. Financial wellness is a thing, and maybe a thing that's not explored enough in our communities. And maybe there's something that is, there's a fear about, a repulsion about, because there are so many people that do financial things in an unethical way, ways to make money that are, and also shortcuts, right? That don't feel good, they don't feel authentic, and in an authentic way. But it is totally possible to do it authentically. And typically, if your job is not getting you where you need to be in terms of finances, it's not going to. And I'm not saying quit your job, but you can make a choice like have us make some money on the side. And don't believe that you can't. Even if you're stuck at home, in bed, you can make money on the side. You absolutely can. It's if you want to choose, and it's going to make you have to grow too. But trust me, even a depressed person can do it. It can be done. So looking at that element, I think all of what I've talked about has that in common. Of there are things that can get you where you want to be in terms of depression and wellness, holistic health, and sometimes the depression tells you that you can't do the things that would get you out of the depression. And so sometimes you're going to have that belief and do it anyway. You're going to have to trust somebody, trust some system. So get a good therapist, a good counselor, and get a good coach, get a good yoga teacher. Find somebody, like maybe online that offers a group or something. If you can't afford it, start somewhere. You never know how they might be willing to help you when you're willing to put in that commitment. Okay, so that I think will start to conclude the talk on depression for now. As the camera shakes, let's have some more sage, cleanse our energy field. And that is such an important part of transpersonal psychology for me. Cleansing the field, and it's not like it has some magic power, but maybe it does. I mean, it's, in shamanic Native American spirituality, which I've studied, it's just something we do to cleanse the field. And some forms of smoke, I've studied sage, not so much, but similar things like in India that actually help with bacteria and things like that. So, I mean, smoke is smoke, right? But there, even naturopaths even have certain vaporizers that are not like the unhealthy ones. And they're not addictive, right? That's the thing too. Tobacco, Native Americans use tobacco, but not with the death rate that we have once we made it into like a type of candy. It's something that you use in ceremonies. But I digress. But speaking of ceremonies, let's breathe now together. And I thought, if you've watched this long, right, then we might actually just meditate together now, whether you're watching live or on the recording, because in other words, we might have some periods of quiet as we just meditate together. Why not? I might not talk the whole time, because I'm connecting with my breathing the whole time I'm talking. But let's do that though. Let's start to connect with the breathing, and it'll talk us into it. And then let's sit for a while. I have or you can meditate standing or laying down. I guess I think sitting is kind of the optimal. Sometimes laying down, and by the way, if you like drift from the instructions or whatever, it's fine. Just come back. That's the thing, is to forgive yourself and come back. That's such a big part of meditation. It's like you get distracted from it. But here's the thing, like, notice that's the stuff coming up from your unconscious. Notice what distracts you, right? You don't have to push it away. You just kind of gently, forgivingly, lovingly come back to the breathing while still including that, still holding space. So I've got my pad and pen here in case there's something that comes up that I want to journal while we're sitting. I've got my mandala drawing stuff over there too. I've got my sage. So let's connect with the breathing. Be aware of the fact that you are breathing somehow. You notice your body move as you breathe. You notice the air coming in and out. Sit up straight if you can, but you don't have to be stiff, and you don't have to be motionless, right? The spine can sway a little, right? Have it strong. Don't slouch, but don't be stiff either. Be aware of the breathing somewhere coming in your nose, out your mouth, the rise and fall of your body as you breathe. And usually when I do that, it just naturally starts to deepen a little bit, especially when I exhale fully. So exhale fully out your mouth. Notice how long you can exhale when you have the intention to exhale fully, and you'll actually get more oxygen on the next in breath. In the nose, the mouth. And if your nose is stopped up, just breathe in and out the mouth, kind of filter it through your teeth or something. Believe me, it happens. So we'll have some periods of quiet, we'll have some periods of me talking. I do like to talk. You can close your eyes and you can put your attention up here. You can close your eyes partially if that works. Or if you're not somewhere you can close your eyes, you can do breathing practices with your eyes open. So we're breathing in the nose, maybe pausing after a full inhalation, noticing the urge to exhale, exhaling fully out the mouth, pausing, noticing the urge to inhale, inhaling through the nose. If you can, don't purse your lips when you exhale. Just relax. Relax but awake, right? Relax but attentive. Even if your consciousness is drifting. And intentive, intentional, right? You're intending to be here now. You're intending to breathe. You're intending to be on a journey towards holistic health. Inhaling, exhaling, and pausing. Exhaling fully. And so if you go somewhere, what took you away from the breath? How many breaths have you been distracted? And what's distracting you? Is it a sensation in your body? Is it an emotion? Is it a narrative? Is it a storyline? Is it just something that wants your attention so bad? Let it have your attention and gently bring your attention to your breathing. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm feeling such gratitude now for being here together, breathing. Even if you're watching this later on a recording, you're here breathing with me. If you don't have a pen and paper with you, you can use the comment section to do some journaling. Just remember that'll be kind of public journaling. You can ask questions and things too. And hit that like button and subscribe if you want to do more of these meditations, breathworks, talks. I'm interested in hearing from you. I'm interested in what you're interested in too. And back to the breathing. Exhaling fully. Pausing. Losing the urge to inhale. Inhaling. Feeling the body fill. Feeling that help strengthen the posture. Exhaling fully. Stay with it. At some point, you may feel a sense of presence come over you. It's okay to go with that. If the breathing pauses or if the attention on the breathing pauses, then a wonderful, blissful, joyful presence comes over you, that's great. Just the same as if other stuff comes up, you can include it. You can always come back to the breathing as needed. Sometimes you'll notice the pauses may get longer in between the breaths. That's fine too. You'll get a big hit of oxygen on the next inhale, I promise, when that happens. As long as it's natural, definitely don't hold the breath. Not in this exercise, anyway. Exhaling fully, back to the breath. Yeah, great. Stay with it. Big stuff. Stay with it. Good breathing. If at any time you need to pause the video, whatever, you can always come back to it, just like with the breathing. Good stuff. Thank you for being here. Take a moment to journal something if you'd like. Keep breathing. Keep that presence going throughout your activities. There's a lion pose, in yoga, and you go like, and it's really good for like sore throats and stuff like that. But again, you got to keep doing it. It's not like our Western idea of like I have a sore throat and I sprayed this stuff on it, or I took a pill and it got better. But these things that are good for us, they're supportive. That's the thing. And you combine it all as you combine it all more and more into a lifestyle, it becomes more and more supportive of your overall health and wellness to whatever extent you can do that. Any little bit, Yogananda used to say, any effort is good. You know, and sometimes it becomes non-effort, like when that presence just takes over and you can stop, focusing on the exercise and just be in presence. So I thank you. I bow to you for being here. And